Now what I want to make sure that you do with your students is that you schedule in what we call spaced repetition. Now, spaced repetition is essentially the idea that spacing out your practice across multiple days rather than doing a large amount of practice at once is better for your memory, for your retention, for your ability to do things with it. And if you think of sport, would you rather go and spend 2 hours one day a week? I think that's going to be better for you than going out 15 minutes every day. I think we all know the 15 minutes every day is way better for our skill development, for our neural pathways to get developed really well, because they're being used every day, okay, rather than being used en masse once, but then maybe not used again for another week. So spaced repetition is this idea that we're going to spread out and make sure that our students are frequently going back over past stuff. So if I taught them something on Monday, we might revise it the next morning. We then might revise last week's work at the beginning of the next week. And then we might revise last month's work again at the beginning of the next month, and then last term's work at the beginning of the term. And that idea of just spacing out when things are repeated and needed to be recalled so that it's not getting forgotten. I don't want my students who did Core 1 or sports medicine or something in term 4 to have completely forgotten that by the time we get to term 1 for their actual HSC year. And then when we get to term 4 for their exams, they're going to forget stuff if it's not gone back over. And you don't want to do it in term 4 and then not refresh it with them until term 3. It's too late. You need to make sure that you're frequently building in this spaced repetition. So as you program, you need to think about putting in that beginning bits of your lessons, just time to recall, to refresh, to go over the past stuff that they've learned, particularly if that stuff is going to link into what they're about to learn brand new that lesson. So spacing out that repetition and just think through that process of what did they learn, so when am I going to actually have them go back over it and recall that information. And if students know that you're going to be doing that and you have some kind of reward system, for example, hooked up to that, then that can really benefit them in the long run, because they're going to actually get prepped for it so they do well, so they get the reward. Even though it's not their marks, it's still going to be some kind of reward. And believe it or not, you'll find your year 12s will love, even just as simple as a star sticker system on a chart on the wall like they used to have in kindergarten. It'll help them a lot with their progress, with their study, as they really go over this. So you thinking about spacing out that repetition, and if you teach your students too that studying for 10 minutes for each subject a day is better than studying for 2 hours one day for PDH and then 2 hours one day for English, that will help them as well, because then they will be able to spread out their own study and learn that they can actually do less study and learn more, and be able to recall more and see better results from it. So spaced repetition, really important when it comes to students' memory, their recall, and then their ability to be able to apply it. The more they apply it, the more they use their skills, the more they're going to be able to develop them and get them better, even if it's for short periods of time. Even if at the beginning of every lesson you decide that we're going to answer a 5 or 6 mark question, and then you give them 5 minutes to do that. I know that's not quite enough time in terms of exam context, but it just forces them to constantly be going through that practice, and that practice then builds up so that when they do get given a 6 mark question that they can spend nearly 10 minutes on, that means that they're going to do a lot better when it comes to their HSC exam.